Right now. Why?
Your toilet in here is weeping at the wax rank.
Is it?
The whole floor underneath those tiles is saturated.
Oh, jeez. Turn the water off when you're in there. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Tackle Shop Live.
Sunny day, right there you took my breath away. Young and pretty, was it
welcome,
just a
welcome,
dream?
Chris Benninger. How are you doing, buddy?
The next day,
Larry Shope, how are you, Larry? David Richardson's in the house.
you came over and you fell into my arms.
Michael Bradley's here.
What I feel.
How you
Please
doing,
tell
Michael?
me your love is real. You make
David
me
Richardson.
think of you. If I get down, knowing
How's
I
everybody
get
doing? Mark Wessner's here. John Pauls is here. Ed M. How are you, Ed M? Breezy Flyer. Frank Duchette, how are you? Man, we got a great show for you tonight, packed full of all kinds of great information, as only you can do here on Tackle Shop Live. My name is Mike A. Cord. This is George A. Cord, and behind the camera is cameraman Nick. We are Tackle Shop Live, and we are coming at you with some great information tonight. We got a huge show for you. Special guest tonight. John Cruz is with us. It's going to be a great conversation with him. We're going to talk colors, fishing, all kinds of neat stuff with him. We're really excited about that. And we got a special announcement tonight we're going to make on Bassfest. We're going to get to that as soon as we can here. Charlie Samball, how are you doing? JP Howell, how are you? Brian Heisey, Kevin Carpenter, how's everybody doing? Man, oh man, what a great crew of guys. John Kopp's in the house. Conway Hayden, what's up, brother? Jack Hinkle. How are you, Jack? Yes, sir. Big things coming here at SFT. Bassfest is coming up. As you guys well know, we have our first show of the year, January 12th and 13th, here at the shop, Bassfest, very famous in-house show. We always bring great talent and great seminars and great learning experience and great opportunity for some good buys. But the big thing is the learning experience you have, the one-on-ones you can talk, with the professional anglers that we get in here one-on-one with them, pick their brains and get some information that you need. And we're here always to help you catch more fish, and that's why we do these events. We are, like I said, it's Bassfest 2024, January 12th and 13th. And already we have signed up Jeff Gussie. We have Gussie, Bassmaster Classic reigning champion. Gussie's going to be here both days, Friday and Saturday. So he's going to be, dishing out some great seminar information. Really excited about him, huh, George? Tremendous. And we have our very own Greg DePalma. Greg's going to be here both days, and Greg is going to give some great seminars. And Greg is, really an awesome speaker. And he's probably going to get into some electronic information for you guys, which I hope he does. And he always does a great seminar on electronics and how to use them and operate them. So hopefully he'll be able to do that for us. Gussie's courtesy of Shimano, and Greg DePalma is courtesy of SFT. We're bringing them in for you guys to enjoy. So let's get into some announcements here. Let's break this whole thing down, George, what this show is going to be all about.
Yeah. It's getting close.
Yes, it is. It's a couple weeks away.
It's bigger than Christmas.
We have from St. Croix, we have Jesse Wiggins coming. Jesse Wiggins is going to be here. Jesse's been here before, and he has always done great seminars, and he's a great guy to talk to, really accomplished angler. Jesse Wiggins is going to be here, courtesy of St. Croix. Very exciting stuff.
We had a great time the last time he was here.
Oh, we had a
So many positive feedback comments from
yeah, great
you
guy.
know, everybody that came to the event.
Yeah, fantastic. Courtesy of Megabass, and we brought him back because everybody had such a great time with him. Nick Kusvis is going to be here from Megabass. Now, you guys remember him? He's a guide up on the Great Lakes. He's a smallmouth junkie. Catches 8-pounders, doesn't he, George?
All the time.
Catches 8-pound smallmouth out of Lake Ontario. He's going to be back giving some great seminars on catching big, giant smallmouth. Fantastic guy. Just a really friendly, fantastic guy. Really excited about him. And the other guy we always got a lot of requests for, and he's coming back, courtesy of Bill Lewis, is Gray Buck. Gray Buck is a MLF
Bass Pro Tour.
Bass Pro Tour angler. Great guy, exciting guy, has some great tips and techniques he's going to share with you. We're super excited to have him back.
Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's a good one for you. All right, this is still going. I mean, this is crazy. We got the greatest, one of the greatest lineups. We have from Daiwa. We have the man himself, Patrick Walters, coming to the shop. Going to be here, dropping the bombs on forward-facing sonar. As you all well know, he is one of the best in the industry on forward-facing sonar. So we're going to be able to have him here for both Friday and Saturday, picking his brains, talking about forward-facing sonar, I'm sure, and we're going to definitely pick his brain on that because he is the best there is on it. So that's very, very exciting.
It's awesome.
I don't even know if I can say the last one.
I know. I can't even stop smiling.
I don't even know if I can introduce the last guest that we're going to have here at the show. Bassfest 2024 is going to be memorable to the point where I don't know how we're ever going to top it unless we can get John Cruz to come here. That's the big thing. We want John Cruz to come here. That would be a great thing.
Huge.
Now, here it is. Little drum roll for it. There it is.
JV, man.
Here it is. From Strike King and Lose, we are going to have the king himself, Kevin Van Dam, in the shop here for the show, dropping some awesome knowledge bombs.
Boom.
Kevin Van Dam. I don't know about you guys, but I am super excited about that. Kevin Van Dam in the house. Unbelievable. It took us 15 years to get him here, and we finally nailed him down. And he will be here for you guys to talk to interact with him. A super nice guy. George and I have ran into him many times. I got a chance to fish with him in the back of the boat and in one of the Elite Series tournaments. Super nice guy. Maybe we'll rehash that story someday down the road.
Hey, great job, guys. That's awesome.
That is a great lineup. There you have it. Kevin Van Dam in the house for Bassfest. And this list of pro anglers that are going to be here is so super exciting. I don't know. This is going to be one of the greatest shows ever.
Mike, you going double decker for the tent, or
I don't know how we're going to do it.
Actually, by my
we have a 40 by 40 tent, and that's the biggest I can get. There's no other room there I can get. It's a heated tent for you guys that have not ever been here. It's a heated tent. And we have a big giant heat system in there. We have 200 chairs. And I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be big enough. I don't think it is. I think people are going to have to kind of muscle their way in there, stand in the aisles, standing room only, whatever it takes. But there you have it. That's the announcements. Bassfest 2024 coming up January 12th and 13th, Friday and Saturday. Put it on your calendar.
less than a month.
Less than a month away.
Bigger than Christmas.
You do not want to miss this. Not only are you going to get awesome seminars and awesome information to make you guys catch more fish, but you're also going to get great sales and great products. We have representatives from all the manufacturers going to be here, and they are ponying up. They know every time they come here, it's a competition, so they're ponying up some great specials, and you're definitely going to want to come here and take advantage of those specials. So there you have it. I hope everybody's happy to hear that news. Looks like it is. Check out our website, sfttackle.com. Keep going back to it. We have a page all set up for the show. We're going to have a seminar list and everything on there, and it will be absolutely spectacular for you. So there you have it. Okay.
There was a question there. No fee to get into the show.
It's free. Oh, we didn't mention that?
Oh, it's free.
It's free.
One of the people asked it on there.
It's free. There you have it.
But I'm just going to speak the truth here because that's what I do. I'm a truth-speaking individual. It might be free, but you're probably going to spend every last penny you got. I'm just saying, once you enter the shop here,
it's crazy.
It's like
you lose control,
Thunderdome, man. I mean, it's over.
We have counseling afterwards. You know, we can counsel with you off to the side,
and we are loaded up.
Yep.
I mean, we got it.
Yep.
You need that? We got it.
We got it. The truck, the back.
You know what I got today? I literally got a skid yesterday I got a skid of Daiwa. I got a skid of Daiwa yesterday. You see skids piled up out front?
Yeah.
Somebody come and take the skids.
Yeah.
Today I got a skid of Shimano and G Loomis.
Tons of stuff.
And it's only Thursday.
Yep.
Good Lord.
Well, there you go, guys.
Question. I don't know if you answered this or not. Is Kevin here for both days or one?
He's going to be here. We're going to have the schedule. We're going to post it. He's definitely coming. We got to nail down the exact time he's going to be here, but we're going to have that all scheduled out and posted on the website here in the next couple of weeks. I just want to tell you guys just to plan on coming. Just plan on being here. There's hotels all around the area. You can stay 2 days. A lot of people do that, but make sure you plan it. All right, so there's that information. Now what we're going to do is we're going to jump on to a really special guest, somebody who we really enjoy having here.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the shop.
Friend of the shop.
And if he gets any more product hanging up back there, we're going to start charging him rent.
We're going to start charging him rent. Yeah, absolutely.
The man has done. I mean,
yeah.
We had to take the Zoom selection.
Yeah.
Which was hanging nice and pretty, and shrink it down so it's overlapping.
It's overlapping. We had to come up with more wall.
Missile selection
keeps growing.
Is going.
It's crazy.
The problem is if I had a telestrator, see, you got the missile going this way. Okay. And as far as they're concerned, it's like,
they want more.
Third and long. So they're going.
They're going for it.
We got the Zoom. The defense has got Zoom pushed back now. Zoom is back. They're on their own 5-yard line. It's not looking good.
They're back on their heels.
And here
comes Missile.
Missile has Robo Worm running the D line, the O line, and then they're back in the Heisman pose, slinging D bombs down the freaking field.
Without further ado, our friend John Cruz. John, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, what's up, guys?
What's going on, man? Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate you so much. We love you.
Yeah, man.
I mean, come on. You're just such an accomplished angler. You're such a nice guy, and you bring to the sport, that real smart, professional touch that we appreciate more than I think you would know, honestly. Well, and we do appreciate you very much.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I mean, you guys, we've known each other a long time, and obviously we've known each other for more than 12 years because come next month, that'll be Missile Bait's 12-year anniversary is next month.
That is crazy. That is crazy. Congratulations on that, buddy.
Susquehanna Fishing Tackle was one of the first 5 dealers for Missile Baits, and we're still growing strong from your intro, which I think is fantastic. I was loving that.
I'll tell you what.
I know you're loving that.
I'll tell you what. I wish we could pick stocks like we pick bait companies, man, because now we wouldn't be here. There'd be somebody else running the podcast.
I heard that.
But we missed all the big ones, Even when we get a hot tip, we always we're great on the bait companies.
Yeah.
But man,
we
weren't there for the 5-way Tesla split. My bad.
Yeah, right. For the Bitcoin when it was pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Oh well.
So-
That's why we fish.
Oh man.
So, John, we talked earlier before the show, and we're going to discuss colors. The biggest, I think that's one of the largest questions that we get here in the store when people come in. They're like, "Oh man, I mean, look at all this stuff hanging in the store. How do you know? What are these colors? How do you know which ones to go with? Is there colors that are standardized that people can pick? And why is there so many?"
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
we know part of that reason
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
we
I
have
mean-
big boats now with large tackle boxes in them.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, I like to break things down, and to me, it boils down to what makes a bass bite a bait. So color is a factor, but it's really the third most important factor. So the first factor, in my opinion, is action. Your bait has to have the right action. Hands down, like 10 times the most important factor. The number two biggest factor to me is size. So you have some lures that are this big and some lures that are this big. It won't even fit on the screen. They're this big.
Right.
Like the Roman made mother right up there. And then I've got like a little teeny bomb shot or something, some tiny little bait. Or a micro jig. We got these tiny little baits. There's times when one will outfish the other like 10-1. I think that is size is a much more important factor. But third is, to me, is color. And I thought it was interesting that you wanted to talk about color because I call color a multiplier. And so what color can do is if you hit the right action and if you hit the right size bait, you'll catch fish. But then when you hit the right color, that becomes you get the multiplier. So it's like hitting the lottery and having that like 10x, 3x, or 2x multiplier on your color selection. And so, where do you start with that color selection is like the next obvious question. To me, you've got about 4 or 5 major color categories that you want to like consider. And then like you kind of run through those color categories. And when you hit the lottery, it seems like it. But when you're out there on the water, sometimes it's hard to kind of understand and know when to do that. And so it's like the first one is natural colors. So the first obvious one is like a green pumpkin or watermelon or something like that. That's a natural color. Then you got the other extreme, which is like a white or a really bright chartreuse, like the opposite spectrum of natural, which is like a bright, which also looks like a bait fish, sometimes not, but it's like the opposite extreme from natural. And then you've got the other one, which is orange. Orange is, to me, one of the most underutilized colors on baits. I have seen a lot of times if you add a lot of orange to your bait, or like maybe you put an orange trailer on your jig, all of a sudden your bite rate just goes up like 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Orange is a big one. Then you've got pink, or like the iridescent type colors. The pink is a big one, in my opinion. And then you've got like the I call it the extreme, like the bright, like whatever the brightest chartreuse type color that you could come out with. Not as far as like a straight chartreuse or a straight white, but like the chartreuse to where it's like a citrus shad color on a crankbait. There's not a shad that looks like citrus shad. Doesn't happen. But we all know that there's been millions of bass caught on citrus shad crankbaits because it does not look like a shad. It looks brighter. It's the outlier of the group. So there's times when that is absolutely the deal. So that, like, in a nutshell, that's kind of what my thought process is for colors. And I mean, there's a lot of little intricacies you can dive into on like each color spectrum and like why each one works. But I love this conversation, and I have stood around and talked with dudes for an hour and a half straight about this right here. So I love it. I love it.
Well, my business model for missile would be really super simple. And I don't know, maybe it wouldn't be successful, but it would have a lot to do with Superbug. I mean, it would probably be one color in the whole, every shape and size. So I got like you're saying, you need the size, and then you need the action.
Yep.
And then Superbug. So I would have 7 pegs of missile, but
technically Superbug is the perfect color because black and blue works everywhere and green pumpkin works everywhere. So we just put black and blue and green pumpkin blue together, and technically it has to work everywhere.
Who invented that? Who invented that color? Was it you, or was it Ish? Oh, I thought Ish loves that color too, doesn't he?
Absolutely. Yeah. He really likes it a lot. Yeah.
But you invented that color. Oh man.
That's good stuff.
That is super.
So
yeah,
one of the things I'd like to add in here and get your read on is there's factors that I feel play in choosing color. I mean,
okay,
going off of what you said, okay,
yeah,
but for me, I like to pay attention to the sky color a lot.
Okay,
because those fish are looking up. They're down here, the sky's up there, and I like to tandem that up with the watercolor.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I'm fishing along and my mind is overworking, it's overthinking the situation. I factor in forage. I remember clear as a bell hearing you speak. And I think I might have heard it from you twice, because one time I don't think was that long ago, and you, clear as a bell, said watermelon candy is a phenomenal base if you're on a bluegill, sunfish, brim type bite.
It's dirty,
I remember that. I remember it like it was yesterday. You probably said it more than once. I mean, you've given a few seminars. And then the last thing that I like to factor in is my target species. And what I mean by that is, because it's not just bass.
Yeah.
Smallmouth require some different, to me, smallmouth are way more color sensitive than a largemouth ever will be. So I look at those. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 things. As I'm fishing, I'm thinking, especially if I'm not getting bit, it can't be me. It has to be something wrong with my bait.
Yeah.
And, so I'm thinking about that. So I would like to, somehow over the course of our little conversation here, if you could kind of address those 4, what your thoughts are on that. I think that's interesting.
So it's interesting you said the thing about the largemouth versus smallmouth versus being color oriented versus not. I've seen times where I think you're exactly right, and I've seen times where I think it's the absolute opposite. And I think it has to do with the situation. If the smallmouth, as we both know, they can be bait fish oriented and they can be crawfish down oriented. Mm-hmm. And when they are crawfish down oriented, to me they are unbelievably scent oriented. I think they are much more scent feeders than bass are, because I think it has to do with being in the river, and just think about it from their perspective. They're sitting in the river. They're waiting for something to come by. All of a sudden, something tumbles by them. They're like, wait a minute, that might have been a piece of food. So they'll take off after it, and they don't necessarily run after it and just gobble it down. They run up to it and they'll just tap on it. They're like, wait, can I get a little something? Can I get a little something? Is that a crawfish? Is that a leaf? Is that a stick? What was that's continuing to tumble by me in this river system? And it'll go by them, and then they'll tap on it, and they're like, oh, I smell brim. Gulp, gone. See ya. As soon as they get something that's gamey, it's gone. But when you take a smallmouth and you put it in a still reservoir, I don't know the names of those deep reservoirs up there that don't have a lot of current, but any of the Great Lakes are a good example.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You pitch something out in front of those fish that's suspended above them, they're just gonna come up and eat it. They're like, oh, that's a bait fish. They're not gonna go up there and nibble on it. They don't need to, because they can see it clear as a bell. I think that's when they're more color oriented, and they're going to come up and just crush it because they can see it clear as a bell. But in that river with things tumbling, they're not really quite as sure. They're not as picky color wise, but they're going to be very picky scent wise. And so I think it's sometimes smallmouth are scent feeders, sometimes they're sight feeders, and I think it has to do more with current than anything. But largemouth, largemouth can be like I say Florida largemouth, northern largemouth act differently.
Big time.
Mhm.
Yeah, the southern largemouth can absolutely be very like ridiculously color oriented, and it makes like almost no sense at all. But the northern largemouth, I think they're so action oriented. If it looks right, they're gonna be like, "Hey, look, there's not ice on the water. I'm eating that sumbitch right there." So they just go after it. That's what I think.
So
That's interesting. Yeah.
So a couple things along that vein right there, the regional aspect, and smallmouth. I know you've experienced it probably numerous times in your career. I've experienced it a bunch because I love going north and fishing for smallmouth.
Oh yeah.
And it's a color thing. I'm talking about chartreuse. Chartreuse blades on a spinnerbait with a chartreuse skirt. And a chartreuse trailer. A chartreuse, if they're on a downsized bait, a little chartreuse. What's that Zona? What's that Zona
Z2
color chartreuse that he's always touting?
Siren. Yeah.
Which is a pearlescent milk. We call it milky chartreuse. That color's a Susquehanna River staple from back when Mr. Twister only had 6 colors. We call it milky chartreuse. And smallmouth fishing, more than once, I've seen a spinnerbait, like let's just say a white spinnerbait with gold blades. More than once, if you put that milky chartreuse trailer on it, it's warfare. So I call that a regional thing, that chartreuse up north, which kind of goes along with what you're talking about a little bit. Yep. And then the northern largemouth, but spinning back on that southern Florida, you brought up the Florida largemouth. Yep. Also, what I would call a regional color thing. June bugs, red bugs, black and blue June bug laminates. That's a strong Florida thing.
Yep.
What's your thoughts on that?
From traveling around, June bug works everywhere. Mm-hmm. There's just a lot of places they don't throw June bug. So, if somebody said you could have black and blue June bug and green pumpkin in all your plastics and that's it, I would be like, all right, that's fine with me. Because those plastics pretty much work most everywhere. But I mentioned there are times when like the baitfish colors are a multiplier, orange colors multiplier. There are some exceptions, but by and large, those colors right there, you catch them everywhere. Even in the clear waters at Smith Mountain Lake here in Virginia, and there's been times in the summer I've taken a June bug worm and just blistered them in June, in clear water. It's kind of wild.
Why does a color like Morning Dawn work?
That's a great question. I think that once you get that color down a little bit, or you kind of get the light out of that Morning Dawn a little bit, it looks like a dying or dead baitfish. That's what I think. There's some reason that pink works so well, and I think it has to do when you take some of the light out of it. It looks like an injured or a dying baitfish because they get that little pink tint to them. After it's kind of like that little blood look to them or something. That's my personal opinion. I don't know, but there's definitely times where pink is unbelievably good.
Well, we fished here in the Susquehanna River here in our hometown here. There's we throw a lot of like a fluke style bait, a super fluke style soft plastic jerk bait. It's phenomenal, and for me, it's like 89% of the time I'm throwing pearl white. You know, that'll cover it. It's a bait fish deal. I catch them on that. But then all of a sudden, my brother will pick up like a pink bubblegum color and just absolutely annihilate them. And it just blows me away how one day they're on a white color and the next day this pink that you know, and everybody says it's like, what the hell do they even think that thing is? You know,
Right.
Is it just because it's different, you know, those types of colors that they haven't seen it before or don't see it as much? Do you think that's a triggering mechanism to them or something?
I think you're right. I think you're onto the right track. I think it is that odd or bright. It's just like the methylate.
Yeah.
And to me, that's an orange color. There's time there. I mean, we all know that sometimes in the post spawn, you can't shake them off a damn methylate. I mean, they'll swim across the cove to eat that damn methylate worm.
100%.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. I just don't understand how they ever, you know, whoever came up with these colors to throw them. I mean, you know, who would have thought that a bass would eat a methylate freaking worm like that?
I know. I have no idea. I guess
for people for people who don't know what it is, it's the brightest orange you've ever seen in your entire life. It's like a nuclear orange on it, you know?
It is. It's actually nuclear. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, on largemouth, you know, in like late spawn, early post spawn, methylate trickworm or methylate straight-tailed worm fished either on a weightless Texas rig or a wacky Nico is killer. It's money. It's
hard to beat.
I mean, you better have at least 2 bags of them in the boat.
You know what? You know what's bad, George, is that I've had some people that I know here regionally tell me that if you're not fishing methylate all year, you're missing it.
And I don't have a problem with that.
And on me, I just have not given it a fair shake.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm missing it. Maybe we're all missing it. Maybe it is a killer color year round or in the fall it excels. I don't know. I just haven't thrown it.
I think George, I think you, and I think we had that day with that color. That was like magical.
Yeah.
And then
once.
And then it's like we don't throw it again for a while because it's like this crazy color. Why? You know? Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times in that time frame, in that late spawn, early pre-spawn situation, I mean, you can catch them on a bubblegum trick worm, you can catch them on a white trick worm, you can catch them on a chartreuse, you know, straight tail worm, but methylate rules. Now, the other situation for it that I think we've shared this on the show before is a tidal water situation in like the dog days of summer when you have that incoming tide and your life is just not good. And you know, you can't run far enough to get back to when life was good. I love to go to a high bank that's holding the water back.
Yep.
Even if it's man-made, that has some shade on it, and take that methylate worm and lightly weight it so that I can skip it up underneath there and let it get that tantalizing little wiggle waggle fall. And I'll tell you what, you're in like the worst case scenario of the day. It might be an hour. It might be 2 hours. It seems like if you got the harder the tide runs and the bigger the tide range is, the longer that pronounced dead period is.
Yeah.
But that daggum worm in the dog days of summer on the eastern shore of Maryland, I can tell you, will save your bacon. I mean, you better have a whole bunch of them laying there.
And
that's kind of an impact color, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of those multiplier colors, man. You could throw a green pumpkin one, and I bet you in that situation you would get a quarter of the bites, if not less.
Absolutely, 100%. It's a guaranteed.
Yep.
So I got a question for you on that. So you go to a tournament and you only got a couple of days to practice. Are you like shuffling through colors like a dealer at a poker table, or are you like already did your homework and this is what I'm going to stick with type of guy?
No, I mean, I use like seasonal and regional bases to kind of start with. but a lot of times I'll kind of roll through a few different colors. But you kind of touched on it earlier, George, is and the one thing that like I thought about it before, but it really didn't hit me until I was like, you got to know Aaron Martins really well. And for y'all probably know, most people don't know, he was colorblind. So he had to ask people what color baits were. He was, I'd be working on tackle and he'd be, hey, John, come here. Like, what? He goes, what color is this? Is that like a bait fish color? I'm like, yeah. He's like, okay, what color is this right here? He's like, is this like a Aaron's Magic or what, Okay. Yeah. Okay. So he would ask me what all these colors were.
That's
and then,
crazy.
And I'm like, well, like, explain, talk to me a little bit. And he would say, okay, well, I was catching them on this color when it was early in the morning, when it was low light. And then when the sun came up, they wouldn't bite it anymore. So I switched to this other color over here and they started biting that one better. And a lot of it had to do with, he thought that, and he could see like whether something was translucent or not.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what he went by. The colors that were more natural and translucent, he would fish those when it was sunny. The more opaque colors that kind of stopped the light, he said, were a lot better when the light was lower because the fish could silhouette the bait easier. Like that's how simple he kept it.
Wow.
And
yeah, that's how simple he definitely kept it. Although, he over the years, he branched out.
Yeah, for sure. But that was a big deal, and whether it was sunny or not. He said, if it's overcast, I'm fishing these darker colors. If it's sunny, I'm fishing these more natural colors.
Well, and we're talking colors, and we're talking about a lot of plastics, but the same applies to hard baits. I mean,
absolutely,
that's a key element of jerkbait color selection. Clear water. We have a really hard, fast rule of thumb on clear water. We like a translucent jerkbait, a ghost,
right?
Something of that nature. Dirtier water or a dark sky. We like something that gives a silhouette, an opaque color. Could be a white. It could be a white, but it could also be, something crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, the same applies to plastics. Which, earlier, John, if you remember, we were talking, one of the things I asked you about was sky condition. Because that fish is looking up. And this applies to it totally. And you just said, Aaron said in the morning, the more opaque, and in the afternoon, the more translucent.
Yep, absolutely. That's it.
That's crazy.
That's good stuff right there.
That's why you need watermelon and green pumpkin. Or you could just go with Superbug and you'd be good.
Yeah, that's all you need, Superbug.
Well, you guys have an old school color in your lineup that, and a lot of it's probably in plastics, it's probably the worst selling color in the modern day era. But if you go back to the early 90s, it was probably one of the best selling colors in plastics.
Mm-hmm.
And it's smoke.
Yeah.
And back in the day, I mean, we lived on smoke grubs in the winter.
That was the deal. You fish
so you have Hillbilly Magic, which is smoke.
Yeah, it's kind of it's a modified smoke.
It's a modified smoke. The body's a little more opaque, and the tail's a little more translucent. But what got me right away when you brought that color out, which has been a year or so now, was I looked at it and I said, well, it's smoke.
Yeah.
And old school heads like myself are like, I have to have a pack of those. I mean, when it's cold and clear, smoke is the deal.
Oh, our warehouse manager, Mark, he's a very old school fisherman, been fishing a long time. He said, if we discontinue any bait in Hillbilly Magic, he's going to require us to take an entire full box and put it into his car, or he's quitting. And
that's his jam.
Yeah, that's his jam. He everything we have, from the quiver, D-bomb, whatever. He's like, he loves that color. He catches a ton of fish on that Hillbilly Magic.
Well, and that's an interesting part of the color conversation. And for those of you listening, and maybe came in late, we have John Cruz on. No introduction needed. And our topic tonight is colors, A to Z, how you choose them, et cetera, et cetera. And right now we're talking, a little bit about smoke. What's interesting about smoke, if you're older school angler, you've probably been exposed to it. A lot of people who are newer to fishing don't fish smoke. It's not sexy enough. But, back in the day, it was probably one of the best cold water colors. But what was really cool about smoke was you could be fishing in some fairly dirty water on a real tough bite. And maybe it was because we just didn't have a lot of colors to pick from. But smoke in a dirtier water almost did what black does. It almost became opaque.
Yeah,
in
almost
dirtier water.
disappeared.
I mean, it worked.
Yeah,
It
almost
flat out
disappeared,
worked.
and they eat it.
I used to dip the tails of smoke in chartreuse if the water was real dirty, but I wasn't putting the smoke down. I wasn't putting it down.
So, John, walk us through a process for you to come up with a new color, or to design or develop a new color, or what's the thought process? And I know you have a great pro staff of guys, and how involved are they with that type of work when it comes to colors?
Yeah. So when we were looking at adding new colors, for example, not that long ago, we came out with the magic worm, and the magic worm was a unique situation because Robo Worm, they make that worm for us. They can do colors nobody else can, and the way that their colors turn out, it's not like anything else. So when we were coming up with those magic worm colors, I was asking Ish, I was asking Byron, and other people in the office here what colors they wanted. I was getting awful color suggestions, I'll be honest. So I was like, okay, that's it. I broke out my notepad. I always keep a notepad over here, and I just started writing out colors. And I wrote out 14 colors, like in my head. I kind of came up with 14 colors. Mm-hmm. And then we said, okay, all right, Robo, can you make 12 of these? Because we really like 12 of these. Make 12 of these and see what. Well, they made the 12. We liked them so much, we ended up doing 12. We only wanted to start with like 8 or 10. We ended up starting with 12 because we loved all 12 colors. So that was kind of how that one came up, but because it was a little bit different. But the other injected colors are more traditional colors. And, like a newer bait like the Chunky D is a bait that we sell a lot of. And a lot of people seem to flip that more than they do put it on a jig, because it's an amazing swim jig trailer, but guys are really flipping that because they love that little crawl action that bait has. And we just tried to do a little something that had like, sorry about that. We tried to do something that had like different color categories covered. So we did everything from green pumpkin, the black blue, all that kind of stuff. My daughter is
she's like, where you at, Daddy?
I'm hoping she did not have another accident, because she had an accident. Might
want to answer that.
In her car.
Yeah,
she's dancing.
Yeah. Oh.
She's driving in her car, so I just so she's gonna text me hopefully and let me know what's going on. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Yeah, but we tried to color, hit all the categories. Like I mentioned, we had the black and blue with the Bruiser Flash, with the green pumpkin is the natural. We threw the Bammer Craw, something with some orange in it. So, we have the pearl white with the baitfish color. So we tried to kind of hit most of the major categories with that, so that it would, kind of cover everything that we might come up with in only eight colors to start with.
Yeah, because as a bait manufacturer, and I always kind of struggle it with in here, even 33 years later, I always struggle with, George, why are you ordering 18 colors of this or 12 colors of that? Why does John have to make 12 colors of this? But when you look at these businesses now and the way things are, you have to do the whole country. You have to
Right.
think about the whole country in your mind, or better yet, you have to think about a lot more, like international stuff.
Exactly.
know,
That's what I was getting ready to say. I mean, we sell
yeah.
it I mean, just in the last month, we've shipped a big shipment to Japan
Yeah.
and to South Africa and to Europe in the
Sure.
last 30 days. Yeah.
Sure. So, that, and I think that's where, I always said to these people when they come in and go, look at this, how do you make your decision? Because we cater to the whole United States, our store with,
Yeah.
with the internet site now, the way it is.
Absolutely.
So we have to cover the whatever color from down in Texas that's hot.
Well,
And
they're regional colors.
the regional color stuff.
You get the information like when you're going to go travel. You're
Yeah.
going to a certain body of water that you've never fished before, or you only get there once every so often. There's you got to throw this colored worm. Like many, many, many moons ago, that's how Mike and I got introduced to the Zoom Bait Company. Was on, it was in the Hall River.
Yeah.
And this old guy's like, you got to throw a pumpkin seed worm.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, what's pumpkin seed?
What color is that?
Ago, right?
What was that?
That was before there was a green pumpkin.
Well,
and he said, and he gave us a bag of worms, and it was Zoom Bait Company, pumpkin seed U-tail worm. He goes, this is the worm you have to throw on this lake. And we're like, okay, we're like high school age, and we're like, okay, you're gonna pry that from my freaking hands.
Yeah.
And that's what we throw. That, to me, ever since that day, there's what I consider regional colors, because being in the industry, and shipping product all over the country, there's colors that hang in here that don't sell here at all. But they're hot in the Southeast, they're hot in the West, they're hot in the North, what have you. And, that's part of color.
Yeah.
Part of color is that, and a guy like John who's traveling, I mean, you must carry a bunch of colors with you, brother.
It is. I do try to just hit like all those categories that I mentioned. I just make sure that I have one of each of those, and then I just let it go. I'm not trying to match every single thing.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, like if I go to a coastal place, like if I'm going to the Upper Bay, or I'm going to the Sabine River, or I'm going to the St. John's, I promise you I'm going to have something that's got a little more blue in it than most. So I want to have some kind of ballistic blue, something like that. If I'm going somewhere in the normal middle of the country, I'm going to make sure I have more of that green pumpkin, black and blue, and the orange colors, covered. Obviously, and then everywhere you got to have the whites as well. So that's kind of the
super crawl,
kind of what I'm thinking.
Why haven't you made a moccasin? The old school culprit moccasin color. And why did that go away? Why did it go away?
Man. I got a feeling that if we came out with a moccasin blue or something like that, it would just sit and collect dust for
honestly, I think it would. I mean,
because we came out with when we had that tomahawk worm, we came out with the blue fleck, and I thought it was just gonna be, like off the charts, because I was like, that's my favorite color, hands down. Wasn't even close to the best-selling color, and I was extremely disappointed.
So why do colors go away like that? Why were they popular, so good, and then they go away? Why is that?
Forward-facing sonar.
I mean, come on. You knew that was coming.
Discontinued the Pinto.
Yeah. You knew that was coming.
Got him.
Got him.
On a pump fake. Mike's like, really?
Wow.
Forward face? Man, I can see it. It's not going to show up real
How
well.
did that do it?
Man, I don't.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy though? Like red,
Yeah.
we don't sell as much red shad as we used to. We don't sell, there's a lot of these colors that were just like staples. Carolina pumpkin, pumpkin seed, these colors just, like you said, collect dust now.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's got to have green pumpkin or green pumpkin, at least in the name.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like green pumpkin.
or that pink one, Greg's favorite worm.
It's got to be pink, green pumpkin, black
Morning
and blue.
dawn.
Yeah, or say morning dawn in it somewhere, and you sell the hell out of it.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Well, another aspect of color that to me is a big deal is the dip. Because to me, if you take a green pumpkin flipping bait like a D-bomb
Mm-hmm.
and you dip a portion of the tail in chartreuse
Uh-huh.
and you flip it in the water and you watch it sink, it almost flashes. To me, the contrast of the darker and the lighter, and to me, kind of along the lines of what you're talking about, like I carry chartreuse dip and I carry orange dip, and there's a time and a reason. Depending on the forage base.
If you go to Texas, you need to carry orange too, or red too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And down in Texas, they throw a lot of pink like frogs and whatnot too. But
Yeah.
the dip, the interesting thing about the dip that I found interesting is it doesn't look like much until it hits the water, but you can dip dark stuff like a black and blue flake
And it'll
with
glow.
orange. And when it hits the water, it's kind of a subtle flash. So, you know, on this color conversation here, adding the dip factor.
Yeah, now you got the accent. That's what I call the accent color. So
Right.
you could have a
Right.
a green pumpkin, and then you can accent with, they have pink dye, then you can have red, chartreuse, orange, as you mentioned. They have blue dye. They have all these different accent colors that now you can get really kind of crazy and really, really try to like dial in that color multiplier that we were talking about earlier. And there is a reason to the madness, but if you're flipping a bait and you're not getting bit, you're just not flipping the right bait.
Mhm.
Like you need to flip something else. You need to go something more subtle, or something more flappy. You're flipping the wrong bait. If you're getting bit, then you can start, to me, almost experimenting with the colors to really kind of dial that multiplier in and really elevate the number of bites you're getting. Because if you're flipping the wrong style bait, I don't care what you could draw that son of a bitch up to look like a crawdad every which way but loose.
Yeah.
They ain't biting it.
Right.
They don't want that action.
Or profile.
So out of those three factors that you said at the beginning here, size, action, and color, what is your most important?
Oh, action is like 10 times more important than anything.
That was number one.
That was number one.
It's a good thing he's not having a test tonight.
I'm just, we got people coming in. So
And so number two is size, because there are times when that size factor is a huge deal. And to me, one of the easiest ways to kind of like demonstrate that is when I fish for bedding fish, and you can visually see how the fish react to each bait. And if people ask me, well, like, what's your favorite bed fishing bait? Well, like I have 3. I have a small, medium, and large that I have to, and like that's my system. Usually I'll start with the medium, which is like a baby D-bomb, just pitched in there on 20-pound test, and see how they react. See what the fish is doing. See how territorial they are. If they're kind of territorial but they're not doing anything, then a lot of times I'll fall in with the large, which is like a destroyer, bigger soft plastic, something that's obtrusive, that's like, invokes that territorial reaction. Try that on them. A lot of times they get territorial and it's like, boom, there you go. But if they all of a sudden they kind of start backing out, and then you move the bait and they back in, you pitch it in there, they back out, then you move the bait and they back in, they're just acting kind of funny, then you need to go with the small, like a little bomb shot, or like that little drop crawl we used to have, or something real small on a drop shot, preferably. Sometimes a small worm on a shaky head can do it too. You pitch that bad boy in there, and then sometimes like you pitch it in there, they're in there, and then all of a sudden they just kind of like look at it, and it'll take them a second, and then all of a sudden 10 seconds later they're swimming over there looking at it, and then all of a sudden they just eat it, and then they just start swimming off real slow, and then your line starts moving with it. Got them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that fish, when they're in their natural environment, not necessarily on a bed, are the same way. There's times when they want that small bait. There's times when they want a regular size bait, and there's times when they want a bigger bait. And there's some fish that'll just eat any damn thing you throw in there. But more, we all know they can be really picky too.
Okay, absolutely. Very interesting stuff there. I mean, with that. So what's going on with Missile? What's happening? What do you got going on as far as the bait company? Is there anything on the horizon that we should kind of get ready for and be happy
Yeah,
about?
man, we got kind of a big thing coming. I'll give the peeps a little sneak preview if you want to check it. I know it's like mad early, but hold on a second. I'll give you a little snapshot.
We like sneak previews.
Now, you guys may have seen it, but the peeps may have not. But there's like here's a regular size, and then you got a large monster coming. So that's all you're gonna get right there. That's all you get. But there's a lot more to it, and there's multiple sizes, and it's all done for a reason. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be really cool, and I can't wait for people to see it and and really get to check it all out. And we'll
we were stoked. We were stoked when we saw it.
Yeah,
we were like, all about that thing.
It's funny because
we're patiently waiting in line.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are some anglers. There's some anglers that have seen it, and we've shown it to them, and they're like, "That's a joke, right?" And then you get like 1 out of 4, and they're like, "I need that in my life right now. I need that right now."
Well, like Byron said, he said, "Think swim bait. The swim bait of jigs."
Exactly what it is.
Yeah,
exactly what it is.
Yeah, that was cool stuff.
Yeah.
So we talked earlier too. What are you up to right now? What are you excited about the season? What are you looking forward to?
Yeah, man. I'm looking at all the tournaments. First thing you do is make sure you have reservations, places to stay. Once you kind of get past that, then you start thinking, more of the strategy situation. I don't think I'm going to be able to go down and take a look at anything on the Texas end. I've got to go in February. I've got to go to Florida for a Bass Cat appearance. So I think I might take my boat down there and do a little recon work on the St. John's, maybe the Harris Chain, but probably just the St. John's. And it's kind of funny because that's the place that I've had the most success. I mean, the last 3 tournaments I fished there, I finished 5th, 2nd, and 1st.
Yep.
And that's the place I'm kind of like worried the most about. So that's what I want to. I want to kind of look at that place again, and I might go to Harris Chain, but I really don't think it's changed a lot since the last time I've been. The reason I want to go to St. John's is because I want to look at a lot of new water. That place is massive and it's huge, and I really feel like that I've got to expand my horizons there and kind of utilize some new water.
Nice. The last time you were there was pretty interesting.
It was. We had one of those crazy cold fronts hit right before the event, and it could not have worked out better because I had the cold water strategy pretty good, and I had the warm water strategy pretty good, and so nobody else had both of those pretty good. Guys had either one or the other, and so since it was a 4-day event, I could put both of those together, and then that's why I was able to win for 4 days.
You're a busy man, John. How do you do both things with your business and then all that fishing?
Man, just the best I can. The one deal is I try to assemble the best team that I can here at Missile, and I could not be more proud. And it's really like a family here. It's probably like you guys have with your employees. I mean, it's just such a family environment, and everybody cares about everybody else. And when I'm gone, they know I'm not, jacking off out there on tour. They know that I'm putting 100% of my effort. I come back in here after these tournaments and I'm freaking exhausted, Yeah. And they see that, and they know that I'm putting everything I can into the tournaments, and trying to help promote the brand and all that kind of stuff. So it all works together, and everybody here at Missile either fishes or like Melanie, the office manager, she will fish, but her husband is eat up with it, just like the three of us are. And so he fits in. He came to eat with us at lunch yesterday for our Christmas lunch, and I mean all we did is talk fishing. So that's he's right in the family.
So how many more years you got in you for fishing? Is that something you think about?
Yeah, absolutely. You have to have a plan for the future of what you're going to do and what your exit strategy is going to be. Because if not, you'll end up being, way longer than you should be in the sport. But I want to keep doing it until I'm not having any fun, really. And as long as I'm still competitive, I feel like that's fun. Yeah, I've missed the last two Bassmaster Classics. That's the first time I've missed two classics in a row in like 15 years. So that is not acceptable but it's not like I missed them by a mile. I missed both of them by less than 10 places. So at the same time, it's like you're not missing it by much, but still you're missing it. That's not the point. So I need to get back into making the classic on a regular basis. And that's just kind of my goal for this coming year. But long term, still having fun, and Missile and the tournaments are still very much cohesive and helping each other out.
Beautiful.
That's where you need to be, brother. And the key there is, as you said, is having fun. We see these old sports stars on TV, right, who are announcing.
Yeah.
And we love them. I mean, if you're a fan, you love them. But they need, we have a friend of ours that always says this. Some of them, when they're sweating and the orange hair dye is running down their side of their face, they need someone in their life that says, now, you probably shouldn't go out of the house like that today, right? Especially if you're going to go get on the camera at ESPN, okay?
Yeah, they're living in the past, man. I mean, I got gray all up in my beard. I mean, you can't see it too much, but I got some gray in the beard.
The passion will carry you so far. The legacy will carry you a little farther. And then after that, the people are going to say, whoever it is, they're going to say, you need to stay home today. I think for a fishing industry, what's beautiful about it, look at the legacy, like a guy like Larry Nixon. Yeah. And look at the years he put in,
amazing.
So I think a guy like John Cruz can have a pretty good run here.
I definitely
like decades.
Yeah. But I wanted to hear that. I wanted to hear, the exit strategy. Because, George and I, we've been doing this for 33 years and we never thought about an exit strategy until just recently. And a lot of that has to do with, we're having a lot of fun at this. We're still digging this job. And as long as we dig it and we're having fun and we can, and then maybe get lucky enough to get out and do a little fishing here and there.
Dude, what are you guys going to do? Retire and then go back into the tackle shop and talk about fishing again?
I know. I mean, seriously. What are you going to do? Honestly. And
there you go.
When you start talking about that stuff, it's like, no, man, we dig this. This is what we do. This is what we love.
I just hope that
as long as we can go fishing, we're good, man.
I just hope that when I'm here at one of the events doing a seminar and the orange dye is running down the side of my face, that somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, you probably ought to
hang it up.
You probably ought to get off that call card there."
That's the great part about what we do, man, is that the things that we hold in front of our faces and take pictures of, that's what people look at. They don't look at our face. They don't care.
That's right.
They're like, damn. George and Mike just caught like another 23 pounds, man. Like, God darn, how old are them guys? But they're just crushing them.
Oh,
that's all. I'm talking like 20 years from now. I'll be like, damn, them.
Yeah,
they're saying that now,
just
but,
crushed them.
Yeah, we delete those comments.
So we don't see them, right?
Yeah, John, I had a question for you. Last time that you were on here, you were talking about your foundation or program for autism. Are you still doing anything with that?
Yeah, absolutely. We in April is Autism Awareness Month. We've got a few items that we're going to be like newer items that we're going to be kind of working with this year. So I'm excited about that. We'll announce that a little closer to April, but definitely some cool stuff coming in April as far as autism awareness, and we're going to try to raise as much money as we can for autism and the various autism charities. I'm not tied to any one charity in particular, and I think that's the whole key. Is that I encourage people to look in their backyard and look, like Google, autism facility in the area that you live, and you might be really surprised how close that there are autism facilities wherever you live all over the country.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great cause. It's a great way of putting that, look in your local community. Well,
I mean, it's good stuff, John. And it kind of, especially in this season right here, everybody gets a little more motivated to give and help. But I mean, as good humans, part of our thing is to help others and, pick a cause or two and, pay it back, man. I mean, pay it back a little bit.
America is so far ahead of any other country as far as being giving to charities and those kind of things. I mean, like, we blow away any other country as far as what we do charity work wise, volunteer wise, and that kind of stuff. And I think that is amazingly an American thing. And I want to, Bassmaster gives us an amazing platform to kind of push these various topics. And so I just want April, and then I think other people should speak for the 11 the other 11 months.
Yeah.
Let them have their time. And then, come April, I'm going to talk about autism again.
Sure. Great.
Well, it's a beautiful thing you do, John. And, it's an American thing, as you pointed out.
Yeah.
John, we want to thank you so much. You got to do us one favor.
Sure.
I know you guys are a big family there, but you got to tell our boy Byron that we're, that we're thinking of him, and we hope he has a good holiday.
Yeah.
And thanks a lot. We appreciate you. And
yes, sir.
As long as you don't have anything else you want to cover, we're gonna bid you goodbye, brother.
All right. Well, tell me the latest, George. I know you're a bourbon fanatic. Tell me the latest bourbon that you have indulged in and how it was. The like high class good stuff.
Well, I mean, most of my really good high end stuff I like to get free from you. Because I'm not as hardcore as you guys are. I'm very easy, and a lot of times on the real high end bourbons, I won't even drink it because I don't know that I know it that well. But
we got into that.
Wait. A friend of mine, his wife, and here in Pennsylvania, you can enter a lottery, right?
Same in Virginia. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, she won the lottery for the Blanton's Gold.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so she was telling everybody how she won the lottery. I mean, people were like, "Oh, you want to?" No, you don't win the bourbon; you have to pay for it.
Correct.
So once we got that out of her,
she won a spot for one.
She was bragging on it, and finally, I said, "Listen, I mean, you're gonna kind of have to share a little now. I mean, you've been bringing it up like." So she popped the top and gave me a little finger in a rocks glass, and I mean, it was great. I love Blanton's. That's probably one of my top 3 bourbons of all time. But
for sure,
the Gold. I mean, again, and I'm not the best critic, but to be honest with you, I think you're better off with the regular.
Really?
Yeah, the Gold's got a little bite.
Yeah, sometimes some of the higher end ones, like the next step up, have more spice and a little more kick. And now I'm not into that at times, but I'll tell you, the last one I had, I'm gonna show you here. Hold on one second, guys. This is cool stuff here. This is cool stuff. I had this. My buddy Joe Wolf from Flambeau. You probably know Joe.
Oh yeah.
He indulged me with this. He said, I want you to try a little bit because there was this much in the bottom of the bottle. And he said, I'm going to pour a little bit for you. So he poured some neat. He gave some to Byron and a couple other guys at the Pittman show that were hovering around like I was. But look at this. It was
Pappy.
Pappy's 15-year family reserve.
Ah,
I'm not kidding you guys. The best bourbon I've ever had in my life.
Really?
wow.
It was all that and then some.
wow.
I
That was
could not
probably like
believe
a $200 pour.
What, he gave you the empty bottle?
He gave me the empty bottle as well, and it because he
How hard
said
is
the
it to
bottle
find?
goes for $300 on eBay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's like
Oh, it
impossible
smells
to
so
find,
good.
isn't it?
What's
Is that
that?
hard to find?
Unbelievably hard. I've never actually even seen
Right.
a bottle in.
Yeah, I was going to
person.
say. No.
Well,
And
when we were at ICAST, we had a meeting with Joe, and it was actually just the way it worked out. It was right before our meeting with you. I always like to schedule my meeting with you at the end of the day for various reasons. And Joe was going over this and that, and we were making our plan for 2024. And he said, "Where are you off to next?" And I said, "Oh, we got one more meeting, very important. We're going over to see the missile crew." "Oh, yeah." And he started like not talking about tackle anymore. And he's like, "Well, usually he's got a little something over there." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's kind of why we go over at 5:00. And he's like, "Well, I got to get going, boys. It was nice to meet you. It was like, good to see you." And then, okay, well, here's a flashcard with okay, you're good. Okay, good. And
He beat us.
lo and
He beat us
behold,
over there.
when we get there he is.
Here's Joe. Hey
He
guys.
beat us there.
sniffing around that back room. But I'll tell a quick 1-minute story, which will probably take 3 to the peoples. And this was a couple years ago at ICAST, and the missile crew set up a speakeasy in the back of their booth.
Mm-hmm.
And you had to have, like, most speakeasies had a knock or they had a slide, and you'd give them the code word. You had to have the knock, and you had to have the code word.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
And John's got some, like you say, he's got some great people that work with him. And we went back there and gave the code word, which is not correct for this program right now, but in we go, and
Thought it was fun.
we got a flight. We got a flight, and then we had to take little strips of paper and rate them.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that was I love
that's
it.
fun.
I freaking love it, man.
That's
That's
fun.
so much
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, that's fun right there.
Yep. Take all.
Yeah, we
this
had
work.
fun with that. That was a lot of fun. It was the best, because the best was when I heard Kazu from Spro saying our secret password out the next day. I'm like, Kazu, don't say that out loud. That's not you don't need to be saying that.
Yeah, such a good time. Those are milestone shows every year, and they're a lot of work. These guys probably go through tremendous prep. For those of you who don't know, which is most of you, because you can't really get in there unless you're in the industry, it's a big time event. It's expensive for the manufacturers, very expensive,
Too expensive.
and it takes a lot of work. And then once the show opens, you think it's just a show you're having fun at. It's meetings on the hour, every hour, for every minute of every day. And the beauty of these guys is they take that last hour and a half, 2 hours, and you still take care of business.
Everybody else serves beer.
Yeah.
We serve good bourbon.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
It's a lot
I
of
love
fun.
it.
All right, John Cruz, we're going to let you go. Thanks so much
right.
again for joining us, man. We appreciate you very much.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. And we'll look forward to talking to you guys soon. And if we don't talk to you beforehand, you guys have a very, very Merry Christmas.
You as well,
You
sir.
too, John.
Merry Christmas to you, pal, and a
Thank you,
Happy
guys.
New Year. All right, there you have it, guys. John Cruz, the Cruise Missile. Always a great time with him, and very, very, very informative. That's what I said at the beginning. He's one of the more professional guys that, man, just gets the information that you want to hear, and he just puts it out there in a different way, and it just shows his thought process. Very, very smart angler, very, very smart businessman, and we love him to death. As you can see on our wall back there, when you come in the shop, it's keeps growing every year. I think it's up to about 14 foot long now. Killing me, John. You're killing me.
Yeah, that was great stuff, Mike. I mean, really, yeah, some of the people even put on here, they're going to have to go back and watch it again because there was some good information about the colors. And
well, that's a nice thing.
down.
That's a nice thing about our show. We do have it. It stores on Facebook and it stores on YouTube, or just YouTube.
No, both YouTube and Facebook.
Yeah, it's easier to find on YouTube. You can go on there and you can look at our episodes and you can go back through the episode, because that information, the way he started with the size, the size, the action, the color, and action being number one, and then coming down to color. I thought color was more hierarchy, where when he worked it down through there, I understand now why, the action, the size is a little bit more important, and then color kicks in there, and then the X factor. I love that X factor thing about the orange and some of these other kick colors. Now you see why. Now you start to see why there's more colors out there and why this stuff is done up, because, these guys understand it. They get it. They get to talk to people from all around the country and understand what colors are all about.
Well, I was going to ask him this question, but I'll ask you guys it. So, do you remember a tournament, or it doesn't even have to be a tournament, but a day where either color, you were on the deal of the color and you think the color was that important, or a day where color surprised you, where you were like,
more than once. More than once. I'll tell you a quick story.
Yeah.
I was fishing a tournament on the Nanticoke River, and portions of the Nanticoke River can be like the dirtiest. Well, I won't say the dirtiest water you've ever fished, but the dirtiest water you'll fish in the Mid-Atlantic states. And I mean, it was dirty.
Yeah.
I
hate that place.
And I crushed them on a worm. It was probably the best day I'll ever have on that river as long as I live. It was practicing for a tournament. We probably shouldn't have caught as many fish as we did, but we were like, when they're biting like this, man, you just got to say, the heck with it. But anyways, here's the interesting part of that tournament. And this is going back a long time. I was fishing with my dad, and we were throwing a black chartreuse tail. It was a hand poured worm. It was actually a company that Robo Worm bought, and it was like flat on both sides because it was hand poured and ribbed on the sides like a ringworm. And then it had a curl tail. It was black with chartreuse and some fleck or whatever. But what really was the key, and this was the weirdest thing ever, was you dip the chartreuse tail in chartreuse dye, and that tail got like mega chartreuse. It was what John called that, a accent.
Accent.
It was like a supercharged accent, and I mean, you flip that thing in the water, and I mean, it was game on. And we tried it both ways. We tried different baits. When they're biting like that, you can really get positive feedback on your experimenting. And it was a straight up color thing, and I'll tell you, it's happened. Obviously, anybody who's fished for a long time has experienced it,
Mm-hmm.
It's happened to me multiple times. That time was vivid. And we got back to where we were staying, and some friends of ours were staying next to us. And it was also a father and son team, and pretty good fishermen. And we're sitting there shooting the breeze, rigging up for the next day, and having a pop or two. And they're like, "How'd you guys do today?" And I said, "Oh, pretty good." They're like, "Man, we missed it today, man. We hardly caught anything all day." And I'm like, "Really?" So being they were good friends of ours, and I like the fact that this guy was fishing with his son, I'm like, here's a bag of these worms. Make sure you dip the tail and dye, and it didn't work for them. So
Crazy how that is.
That's a color thing, Yep. And John even said something about scent, and I remember a tournament that I fished on the Conowinga Pool, which is a local to us here for you guys out of the area, years ago. And we were Carolina rigging a drop off on the back of a flat post spawn largemouth. And to this day, I've never had a better day on that body of water. And I'm telling you right now, if you didn't spray it with scent and we were using Bang, if you didn't hit it with that Bang every 3 casts, it wasn't happening. And we freaking crushed them. Numbers that are just unheard of for that body of water. So, there are times when that color thing is like that. And I mean, I could literally, Nick, I promise you, I could tell you 10 more stories on color that are so spot on that that's what it was.
Well, that's a great story, though, because the fact that you tried dipping the already chartreuse tail,
yeah,
that not many people would do it.
So here's the other extreme to that. Now this is a guy I fished with many times over the years, but people can get nuts about it. And this is where this color thing becomes just absolutely insane. It's just like, it's all, I guess it has to do with the confidence that you have when you go fishing, everybody says confidence is more important than anything. If you have the confidence that you're going to catch them, that's more important than any bait and any color and any size.
So if you look at our discussion from tonight,
yeah,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
The 6th thing on our list that we discussed was confidence.
It's confidence. Exactly. So confidence is so important for you to go out there and have the faith that color that you chose and the bait that you chose is the one for to catch that fish out there in that pile of brush or whatever it is. But you could take that to a crazy extreme. I fished a tournament with a guy and he was real kind of hesitant to tell me what was going on. But I get in the back. I'm saying we're fishing together. I'm in the back of the boat with him. We're fishing with him. He's like, okay, Mike, now that we're on the water and we're coming down to our spot, I'm fishing a lizard this color, and you got to put 3 dots of chartreuse on the tail. And I'm like, 3 dots of chartreuse on the tail. He said, they won't hit it if you have 4, and they won't hit it if you don't have 2. You got to have 3 dots of chartreuse on the tail. And that guy was so in tune with that I'm not kidding you. He had a whole box of Q-tips, and every time he changed his thing, he put 3 dots of chartreuse on there, and so anglers can take it to the next level. That's, that makes you crazy, but it's all has to do with the confidence level that you have. And I've seen it many times. Like George, we've had days where if you didn't throw this color, you just didn't get it done. This was the color to throw, period.
Well, it's funny you bring this up about confidence because George had a great story about how color worked for him.
Yeah.
You talked about the guy with the 3 dots, which that's funny. I would have had to been standing back there laughing.
Yeah, that's a tough one there.
But Raystown Lake, this was years ago, and it could be the deal for somebody. But it was spread around that you had to have Senkos that were rainbow trout colored.
Yeah.
Well, I went and bought like the biggest bag you could ever buy. I can tell you I didn't have any confidence and I didn't catch anything.
Yeah.
So it can work the other way too. You know?
It can.
Absolutely.
It
So
can.
color, we wanted to do this tonight on color because and get it from a manufacturer like that. Because when we were able to lock John,
a Tour Pro.
Yeah, when we were able to lock him down, George said, you know what, this is a great time to have our color conversation because
It really is.
Here's a guy that makes his living on colors, and he also has a business where he makes his living on colors, and he's thought about it probably in 57 different ways that we never thought about it. But thank God he came up with Superbug.
Well, the thing about tour guys, a guy like John Cruz, okay? So let's break down John Cruz for a minute. So he fishes the Elite Series. He is on the water. I just got that for you.
Okay.
He is on the water like putting in crazy hours, right? First guy there, last guy to leave. Lot of time with your thoughts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of this greatness comes from. I mean, these guys, when you fish all the time, under all the circumstances, all over the country, see it all, do it all. I mean, not to diminish the great regional anglers, because I'm not trying to diminish anybody, but unless you're drawing from the both ends of the pool, and this man's been coast to coast fishing tournaments. He's been to Cali, and he's been to the salt fed rivers on the East Coast. So
no doubt.
You see it all, you live it all. Your mind is constantly going, and that's how. And it's the same in saltwater fishing. Mike and I do a lot of saltwater fishing. It's the same.
All the same stuff applies to that.
The same creation comes out of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's how it works.
And the color thing is also
that's where the best baits come from.
Yeah, and the color thing also bounces from freshwater, saltwater. It's just amazing how color. I wouldn't have said color would have been third. I would have said color would have been second.
Well, I'll give you a for instance on that. How many times have you guys, you too, Nick, because I know you fish a lot of tournaments. How many times are you back at your house or back at it's better when you're at a hotel, right? Staying at a hotel. And you're out front rigging your rods. And everybody's out there rigging rods and bullshitting and rigging, drinking some beers. And this guy's
talks flying.
This guy's like, oh, man, I'm crushing them on black blue flake. And this guy's over here. He's like, we got to run to tackle shop. It's about an hour down the road. Anybody need anything? We need like 500 green pumpkin lizards. And this guy's like, oh yeah, I am burning them down on a pumpkin seed. And when you hear that, you know what that translates to? The bite's on.
Yeah.
And that's why John has color as his third factor.
Yeah.
Because in that situation, it's probably the action because the bite's on. When they're active, they like action.
Yeah, it's
right.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get that, but
there's also times when the fishing's absolutely freaking horrible.
Yeah.
And you took you 3 days to get a bite, and you got dialed into some little spinning rod technique. I mean, okay. How many times have we talked during the tournament season, the beginning of the tournament season, which is January, February? How many times have we said on this program, 7 to 10 pounds a day can be pretty damn good at Okeechobee?
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to live to get to the next day.
Yeah.
And if it's a cold front, Mike and I were just down to Tampa last week, and it was 30-something degrees to one night.
It was cold.
And the next day, we saw 500 snook that were like,
forget about it.
I didn't sign up for this.
Forget about it. We threw everything in front of them, and then we even got
live bait.
I even grabbed a couple of them live baiters and fired them out there because it was driving me so bad.
But that's why recognize the bite, recognize a lot of factors.
I guarantee
and that's why color is third on that list.
I guarantee you, George. Now that he has broken it down like that, and the action, the bait movement, the action of the bait, bro, I'm on a second level. You have no chance.
I'm ready, baby.
Next year, pal, because I got this action thing down of the lure. He said that, and I understand.
Oh, here we.
Hey, we'll see the truth, George.
Took me 64 years, or whatever it is, 52 years or whatever.
We'll see the truth because about what you're going to talk about a little bit later.
Oh yeah, we're going to have some accuracy.
Oh yeah.
Well,
all right. Well, let's move on. I think that was a great conversation.
Great.
I'm glad we did it. And
so thanks again, John, if you're still listening.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That I'm sure it's going to help a lot of people out, and the way he broke it down for sure.
No doubt.
But let's move on to the favorite part of our show, and that is Tackle Talk. Well, we are Tackle Talk Live, and we are Susquehanna Fish and Tackle, and we are sfttackle.com, and we deal with tackle, and we love tackle, and we love talking about tackle, and this is our greatest section that we
I
like
got
to
the
do.
gist of that.
What do you got going on, brother? What's happening?
Well, I got a couple things going on here. First of all, I like to tap into the vibe of the people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I like to give the people what they want, right? So
Man of the people.
I am. I like to give the people what they want. I'm in touch.
Right on.
I'm dialed in.
Dialed.
I'm usually coast to coast.
Man, oh man.
You know, I was just down in Tampa last week, checking out the local situation, doing a little saltwater fishing, getting the vibe. They don't like it when it's 30 at night down there.
They don't.
Okay? I went to Tampa for 4 days and I wore jeans and a hoodie all 4 days.
You did.
No
shorts at all, did you?
I had 4 pairs with me, but I never put them on.
I did one day with shorts, and the rest I had actually long pants on.
So, you know, I got that vibe. And I'm back here at work, and I got people coming. It's been cold here. Fishing's good. I got a lot of people coming in who are hunting, supposedly. They're not fishing. You know, it's because it's cold, okay? Listen, I'm not going to pull your man card if you tell me you don't want to go fishing because it's too cold. But you got to give the people what they want, and what the people want is tackle. So I have an extended cut tonight. All right? Don't drop off. Don't drop off. You're going to be sorry if you do.
Sorry.
Because I got tractor trailers coming in. I got the UPS driver, my FedEx driver. I hope she's not watching because that's a disaster. But anyways, the products are rolling. So first off, we're going to talk Bubba Scales. Got a big pile of Bubba Scales here. Show the people the Bubba Scales there, cameraman Nick.
Oh, Bubba scale.
So they have 2 scales, which is the same scale, but different, I would say, software, different screen, but the same mechanism. They have the Pro Series, Bubba.
That was interesting what you said about the mechanism. It measures the weight.
Yeah, it's these scales are plus or minus 0.03%.
Yeah,
So-
not ounces, percent.
No, that's the accuracy.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Plus
saying.
or minus 0.3%.
Yeah, but I never heard it said like that until Bubba Scale brought it out, because it's always been plus or minus ounces.
Well, you don't sell the steak, Mike. You sell the sizzle, okay? Bubba's great at the sizzle,
The sizzle.
right?
They got the sizzle.
Right. So we got the Pro model, which is $199.99, okay? Now, keep in mind, the Pro model, and then there is the, and I'm going to have to look at my notes because there's a lot here. There's the Smart Scale. The actual mechanism that does the weighing is the same, okay? But there's a lot more, okay? So if you just want to weigh fish in your boat, maybe for your tournament fishing or for your personal use, this is all you need. But if you want all the other things I'm going to go over here with, this is your guy. So we got this nice heavy-duty case. Now, the regular Smart Scale does not have this. Okay, this case has an O-ring in it. It's waterproof. It floats. All right, now we got the old... I know I'm going to knock something over.
Mm-hmm.
Probably my beer.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Now, there you go. That's forward thinking, George. That's forward thinking.
Beat me up, Scotty. So we got this is going to be
That's
the Pro
is that a
Series.
taste?
This is my phaser, set phaser on stun.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Hold on. Set phaser on stun. What do they call the slee stacks? I'm going to shoot me some slee stacks.
I don't think that was actual.
I don't know,
I
bro.
think that was
don't know.
Lost in Space or something.
I don't
The
know.
Slee Stacks was Land of the Lost.
Land of the Lost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well.
Jeez, you're going back, George.
You don't want to mess with
Holy
a brother here, you know what I'm
crap.
saying?
That's probably the last TV show you watched.
I'll shoot me some slee stacks or whatever else messes with me. How about what's them pointy-eared suckers? Don't
Klingons.
Klingons. They got that language.
Shoot them Klingons.
Cool. Huh? I got it. Anyways. Let's get back on target. Okay, so this is the Pro Series.
What the hell?
No, it's fun.
Go ahead.
It's fun.
Oh, I love it.
So this is the Pro Series. Okay, now, so your first thing you're going to notice is your LED screen is in color. Okay. So you got, and you can use any set of buoys you want. You can use, our two best sellers and our two favorite are the TH Marine, the G-Man series, and the Rapala.
Yeah.
Very good.
Very good.
Okay. You can, red's red, one's one. Okay. So they go by color and number. Same difference. What's cool about this scale in just a tournament situation or keeping your best 5, you can set this limit from 2 to 8 very easily. Everything's done off this main dial here. Everything's easy. I did it. No problem.
Oh, hey, George can do it. Anybody can do it.
It's real easy. But when you have your limit, like I have this set up right now for 5. It says 5 up here in the corner. I know I'm on 5. When I catch my 6 fish and weigh it and it locks, it says lock, and I hit the button, it's already made my call for me and tells me which one to throw back. So I'm not going to go into every little detail on here, but what we have is 60-pound fish max. We have the clip.
Yeah, it comes with a hook too or something, doesn't it?
Yeah, we don't want that.
Well, when you're saltwater fishing. 60 pounders.
We have the lithium battery. And we also have a tray that you could put 3 AA's in. Okay. You can recharge your lithium battery. Okay. Real easy. We have
Bluetooth.
IP7 waterproof, whatever that means. Pretty darn waterproof.
Military.
I don't know about that. Don't
you think, Nick?
Now, here's the cool part. There's an
military.
app. Okay, check it out, the app. And the app with this scale will let you do some other things. You can use it like a log. So you can weigh your fish and it will record the weather, your location. It's like a digital log. Okay. Time of day, what have you. You can go into the app and you can set up an MLF style, Bass Pro Tour style tournament with all your friends that have this scale. And you'll get real-time scoring for every fish counts. So you can have your own little tournament. Every fish counts, real-time scoring. And it's all on your phone. It's all Bluetooth.
Yeah, beautiful.
And I'll tell you, all you got to do to pair is just hold this button in. Wait a minute, wrong button. I turned it off. You hold this button in, and it just comes up with a code, a 4-digit code. Punch it in on your app, and you're paired. It's
easy.
There is a competition mode. So if we're in the boat together, and it'll come up 1 bag for me, 1 bag for him.
Oh, that's cool.
And I can keep my
track.
Oh,
I like that.
Because I don't have to listen to this.
I know what I'm buying. We'll keep this real.
Does that mean we're going to get accurate stuff from you guys this year?
Accurate. That's ours. That's our scale right there. We bought that one just for that reason.
Rally mode. So just for your own solo use. Rally mode always tells you your biggest fish. Nice. Always tells you your smallest fish. So anyways, I don't want to go into every last. We're actually going to shoot a video. We're going to do a video on the scale. We're going to tell you how to use the scale on a video.
Yeah.
Break it down. We're going to break it down.
We got to mess around with it a little bit
and
until
George,
we get it right.
Again, that one that you're going over, that's the Pro Series.
Pro Series, $199.99, comes with everything I showed you. And is Bluetooth capable. So, for a lot of us, it's going to be having that Bass Pro Tour, every fish counts, live scoring tournament with our buddies.
Yeah, and I would say, listen, if you're considering buying these, you got to think about that right there, because if you go ahead and buy the other one, and you spend $100 on it, if you could see yourself fishing those style of tournaments, because think about it, for some areas that is closed or you can't have tournaments or stuff like that, you can do these little rally things with that scale, and you can throw one together anytime. It doesn't necessarily have to be anything different. So you got to think about that before you spend $99 and all of a sudden you have to go back out and spend $199 for that scale.
And it locks. Like when you weigh something, it pops lock. It checks the weight, like,
yeah,
and then locks. It's quick. It's real quick.
Didn't you say it's like 1,000 times a second or something? Like
it's
that?
some kind of crazy number.
Some
like
kind of
that.
crazy something. Right?
Yeah. So those are my notes I have.
Beautiful.
The Smart Scale. Okay, $99.99.
Yeah. Again,
Same scale. It does not have the color screen. Okay, it's the black and white screen. It has the tournament mode. So in the same boat, you guys can have your in the boat tournament. You can't do the Bass Pro Tour thing because it doesn't have Bluetooth.
Doesn't have Bluetooth.
And it has the rally mode if you're a solo fisherman and you want to keep your best 5, best whatever, and have your big fish marked and whatever. So there you go.
Yeah.
Check them out. Bubba Scales. We have them on the website.
No, Matthew doesn't come with live scope.
We have a whole warehouse full of them.
Yep.
So that's Bubba. That's new from Bubba.
Great Christmas present, by the way. You guys could drop some tips to those people that you want.
Fantastic Christmas. present.
Send them in. We'll take care of them.
Fantastic.
Go online, sfttackle.com. We'll take care of you. We'll get it out. We'll get it out on Monday. It's kind of cutting close for Christmas, but Monday we'll
get it out tomorrow.
I'm sorry, tomorrow. We can get it out tomorrow or Friday or even on Monday. I think we can go to Monday, and then it gets a little squirrely after that. We may have to move the second day and next day air, but hey.
That sounds like somebody else problem.
Hey, get your scale. Get you a scale.
All right. Next thing I got for you on the extended cut version here is the 3-inch Yama crawl. I'll never forget the first guy I showed these crawls to in the spring when they came out. They were 4-inch.
Yeah.
He didn't even look at him. He's like, do they have a 3-inch? I mean, like,
the
very first comment that I got.
I know.
And, the 3-inch has a time and a place.
Yeah.
A finesse jig trailer.
Well, that seems to be what a lot of guys are moving to, is a smaller jig, smaller presentation. Well, there it is. There's your trailer.
Yeah, finesse jig trailer or a little baby flipping bait.
You can flip that sucker real nice.
What's cool about the Yama crawl, if you don't remember from when the 4-inch original came out, it's the mega floating material. So it's the same material their Ned bait is made with, so it stands up. So you get that defensive posture.
Mm-hmm.
That bait hits the bottom. It kind of holds that bait up.
Nice.
All kinds of cool colors. You get an 8-count pack, and look, it's a clam, so your tails aren't going to get messed up.
I hate a bent tail.
See
dude.
that?
I hate a bent tail.
It's a beautiful clam.
That's awesome.
Tails don't get messed up.
Cannot stand it when those tails get bent around. Terrible.
What do we got here? We got an 8-count pack for $6.99. All your hot colors. Yamamoto 3-inch Yama crawl. Yeah, that's that. And then, all this forward facing and all this moping and all this Demiki rigging, which has been going on forever. Yamamoto has, and we've been catching some fish on this bad boy. Yamamoto has the scope shed, and I'm showing it to you on the Greenfish Tackle Bad Little Dude jig head.
That's a great combination.
This is made for moping, this jig head. Look how it fits that bait. Mega floater formula. Killer colors. This color right here is called Sexy Shad. Okay. We fished it on the ball head. We fished it on the drop shot. We fished it on the moping style head. We've used it extensively on forward facing. We've used it just dragging bottom.
Beautiful.
Caught some nice fish on this bait.
Beautiful.
It's a great bait. It's called the scope shad. You're talking about a 10-pack for $5.99, and they're pretty durable.
Reasonable. They are a lot more durable than the regular Yamamoto plastic.
I fished one of them that I didn't have too much success on 3 different ways before I started catching fish on it, and then I caught 2 or 3 fish on it. So it was re-rigged like 3 times on different heads and drop shots.
Yep.
So I like it. And yeah.
Perfect. What else
Pretty
you got?
cool, huh?
Yeah. What else you got there?
Well, I got some stuff. So I got a new Daiwa reel, which is actually a new take on an older model Daiwa reel. So this whole Tatula thing, Daiwa's been learning, okay? They've been learning that their Tatula reels with the very lightweight spools cast really well with very little cast control. And generally what we'll do is we'll back it off until we can feel the spool move left and right. And then this is called the zero adjust knob. It's kind of hard to turn for a reason. And as soon as that movement kind of gets out of there, we might give it a skosh more turn, and then it's all magnet. Now, that system was designed for SV spool reels. Okay, this is not an SV spool, but it is an A7075 aluminum, which is their term for the lightest aluminum spool they make.
Very light spool.
Without going to the SV or the duraluminum, which are like, $200 to $400 reels. But this is all mag, very little cast control, zero adjust, new 100 size body. This top cap of the frame has got that like where your thumb fits down in there. You can palm this reel really well. Well, here's what's cool for a small reel. This reel holds 120 yards of 14-pound test. Now,
that's a regular size spool.
I have not tested that.
Yeah.
I have not tested that. Okay. There's a lot of times they'll quote you these line totals, and there is a line out there that'll get that much on there, but it's like some kind of crazy thin line. That was pretty good about their totals. So I'm sure I'll wind one here pretty soon.
Well, even still, if it comes up 10 yards short or whatever,
it's got
the capacity.
A very versatile size spool.
Yeah, it's got the right capacity.
So here's what we got for you. We got a Tatula 100, the new redesigned version, zero adjust, all mag.
How much does that thing cost?
$179.99.
That's very reasonable.
It's $30 under a Tatula.
Yeah, SV.
Okay? SV.
Yep.
$30.
That's a reasonable price for what you're getting with that light spool.
6.3 to 1 is picking up 26.3 inches per crank. That's your 6.3. 7.1 is picking up 29.8 inches per crank.
Beautiful.
A little bit more. And then the 8.1 is putting you at 33.9. And those totals are going to be like that because it is a little smaller spool. Okay. 7 bearings, one roller for the infinite reverse. 7 plus 1.
Hell of a buy for 179, really.
The upgraded gearing. So the Tatula 70 and the Tatula Compact and a couple other reels are running what they're calling hyperdrive. And that's like it's kind of like a theory of what Shimano does on micro modules. So it's smaller teeth and more of them. So it's a very smooth, very seamless drive. I like it. Yeah. Tatula 100. Now, you can get a little confused on this Tatula game because everything's called Tatula.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Tatula SV 103. There's a Tatula SV 100. Now there's a Tatula 100. The Tatula 100 and the Tatula SV 100 are not the same reel. Okay, so remember that. If you have any questions, feel free to call. Okay. Great reel. Beautiful reel. Right hand, left hand, all three ratios. Very light. I didn't get a weight on it, but it's very light. Okay. Now,
what else you got there, brother?
I got stuff. It's just extended cut.
I know. We need it. Yeah.
I'll shut the book right now.
No, cut it. Cut it.
I mean, I'm on the
Cut it.
extended cut.
I know.
People dropping off, you're lost. You might want to come back to the light. Come back to the light. Okay.
You know, there's dead air time. Let's go. Roll it.
I don't appreciate the tone. I mean, I might need a pause. See, Mike, there's a thing in live television.
I got you, bro. I got
It's
you.
called the pace, controlling the pace.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Control it.
this is what I'm running an Omaha program right now. Okay.
Variable.
Omaha. Okay. Control the pace. Look at this. Look, my peeps. All right. So last year, Shimano introduced the Arma Joint 190 SF slow float, basically suspending. Instant hit. We sold out of our first and second runs to the Swim Bait Masters. So you get this great reduced, like this is like a bullet going through the air. So your casting distance, because this baby folds in half. Okay. 3-joint body. You got the flash boost.
I like that flash boost, man. That's unbelievable.
Okay. You got the scale boost, which is this scale
Conway.
pattern,
Way to go, Conway.
right? So the flash boost and the scale boost work together. You got great quality primo hooks. I think their owners, they won't say. This is the slow sink version. So this is going to be your 190 SS. So same colors, you're going to look at a 190 SF, 190 SS. So this actually has a very slow sink rate. It's weighted a little heavier.
What's the other one?
SF, slow float. Basically a suspending.
So this one's going to sink
Slow sink.
Yeah, but it's going to get down a little
deeper. A little deeper, a little heavier. Flash boost, Arma boost, flash scale, 7.5 inches long. This right here is just for protecting the tail and shipping. Spare tail, pin, pull the pin, put your new tail on when they eat the old one up.
Guaranteed people are going to throw it with that thing on.
7.5 inches, 2 ounces. So you can throw this on just about all your swim bait rods. And I'll tell you, this bad boy's nice. The slow float 190 last year was a sleeper swim bait.
It was.
I mean, it caught a bunch of fish.
It really did.
That's called Arma Boost.
That's for those long casts there, Nick.
There's 5 colors. They're all in stock. To repeat. Uh-oh, I didn't write the price down. I want to say $42.99. Okay?
Sounds about right.
That's about right. And then last but not least, okay, because Mike's in a hurry.
I'm not in a hurry.
I'm just saying.
I'm not in a hurry. I am getting a little tired, but I'm good. I'm ready to roll, man. I'm good. We can go for another hour. This thing's crazy to me. What is this thing?
This is the BT.
What is this thing?
Spin. BT stands for Bantam. It's a Shimano product. And so this is a combo bait. This is a tail spinner. Okay, so you got your tail spinner, ball bearing swivel. So when this thing falls, you're going to get the tail spin.
Would you consider that like fishing it like a little George?
I'm going to fish it. I'm going to fish it like a yo-yo.
Okay.
I'm going to yo-yo it like a little George. I'm going to wind it.
It's a winding bait also?
I'm going to slow roll it. I'm going to burn it.
What's the weight on that thing?
That's a great question. I wish you wouldn't have asked that. Hold on.
It's probably on the package right there.
Easy, fella.
Yeah.
This is my segment.
I can help you with it.
5/8.
5/8 of an ounce. So that's fairly heavy.
1.79 inch.
That'll fall nice, and then you can wind it and keep it down nice.
Beautiful bait.
Yeah.
You can crank it.
The size of that thing is what got me with it. Look
It's
at
got
look how awesome that little
It's
size.
got the scale boost.
You imagine throwing that thing on those fish in like early July when
Schoolies.
they're on those little freaking fry and you can't catch them. Throwing that little thing out there,
Cranking it.
like ripping it and burning it and making it do all kinds of cool
I'll
stuff.
tell you, it's a cool bait.
It is a cool bait.
It's a tail spinner on steroids.
Yeah.
$11.99.
Cut the front hook off.
Well, if you're in a really bad environment,
Yeah.
like Rocky,
Really rocky and stuff.
Yep.
Maybe oversize the hook and cut one off.
you could do both.
Yeah. Like it.
So, I do have a couple of hand grenades. That will be the end of our tackle talk. Now, you don't want to hang up, disconnect, and
Don't
miss
disconnect.
this. Because I got 2 hand grenades. I did
Right.
a lot of research, extensive. Fishing, tackle, and fishing industry related. First, Yamaha is going to run. They're gonna run a hydrogen powered outboard at the Miami Boat Show next month.
I guarantee you that won't happen.
It's already
It
happening.
won't happen. Somebody's going to blow it up or something before it happens.
It's already running.
Remember what they did when they tried to do that in a car? They murdered all those people.
Well, you know what the problem is? They say their number one problem is with this bad boy is
Getting hydrogen.
the hydrogen leaks because the atom is so small, it leaks out of the fuel cells. And, long term, like between use, all your fuel's going to leak away. Right? Now, the second thing I have, which is pretty impressive,
That's crazy, man.
the Illinois DNR. Now, Pennsylvania DNR, our fish commission's not watching because they're all old and they're in bed. But if they were watching, because they gave 2 shits, they would be embarrassed again by the Illinois DNR. The Illinois River is overrun with silver carp, big head carp, Asian carp, silver carp. So they do something about it every year. They get commercial fishermen. It's got to be cold because they'll jump. They don't jump when it's cold. Now check this out. From the 6th of December, from the 27th of November to the 6th of December, what is that, like 10 days? In one pool between 2 locks on the Illinois River. This is unbelievable. They removed 750,000 pounds of big head carp,
God almighty.
silver carp.
How's that possible?
This year so far, they have removed 1.7 million pounds in 3 pools. They hire commercial fishermen and they get aggressive on it.
But what's crazy about that, George, is
Is it
it
helping?
seems like it's a yearly thing,
Yeah.
but yet there's still that many.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Because when they breed like crazy, man. They
And they're filter feeders, so they're disturbing the food chain.
yeah, they're eating all the plankton,
And
which
they're just everything's, I mean, it's bad.
screws everything up.
Plus, they have an electric barrier in the water to keep them from getting into the Great Lakes.
Yeah,
And there's so many of them that if they don't remove them, they're afraid some of them are just going to get pushed through.
God,
What do you think of that?
it's like an alien thing, man.
I know.
It's a
it
total
is.
alien thing. On Kentucky Lake, they built a processing company right at one of the boat ramps,
They got a little bit of a handle on it there.
and they net them out, and they created a market for it. They net them.
What's
And
it
they-
called, Nick?
What's that?
I told you what it was called
I don't
a
remember.
couple shows ago.
Do you remember, Mike?
Oh, but George is going to tell us. He always does.
Kopi.
That's right. I remember that.
So if you're at the store around Kentucky Lake and they're got Kopi sandwiches, just picture that big, nasty, silver-headed son of a bitch swimming up the main river. And that's what's on your biscuit.
Hey, Mike.
Well,
Where'd you get that information? Because every time you say something about down south, I think of the same guy over and over. Where you always get your information down there? The authority, Alabama.
oh yeah,
Whoa, whoa,
the
whoa,
Alabama,
whoa, whoa,
the
whoa.
Alabama Bass Council.
Whoa.
The Alabama
whoa,
Bass
whoa.
Council.
Whoa,
Let me tell you something though. But the Kentucky Lake thing, they created a market right there for those damn carp, and they should do it everywhere.
I think it's awesome. Well, again,
Now I had some Slovakians in here.
proactive, Mike. Proactive.
Bosnians. I had Bosnians come into the shop, and great guys. And they were like, "Oh yeah, we want to catch some carp," and I'm like, "How do you want to catch carp for?"
Of course you do.
And I'm like, "Well, our river's loaded with no, we can't eat them out of the river.
Send them to the Illinois River.
We're not going to the river because they're dirty." So I sent them to this lake, right? And they went down there and they caught all these carp, and they came back and they said, "We're making fish cakes. You want me to make you some?" And I'm like, "No, thank you. I'm not eating a carp." And he said, "I guarantee you, if I make these fish cakes for you in his broken English, you would not believe it, and you would say that I was lying to you." That's how good they are. So there's a market for big head carp meat if you're caught out of the right spots.
Kopi.
Yeah. And you won't even know what you're eating.
I beg
George
to
would
differ.
because he can remember the name. I'd never remember the name. And they just told me it was Copley. I'd be like, "Oh man, that's like
COPI.
That's like Kobe beef. I'll have it. I'm in.
Copley.
I'm in.
COPI. Kopi.
All right. For all you guys hanging on, thank you so much. But
What else you got?
Bassfest 2024.
Oh,
I'm gonna run the list one more time for the people that got on here late. As you well know, we have Jeff Gustafson, and he's coming at, Shimano's bringing him in, the reigning Bassmaster Classic champion. Gussie will be here doing seminars. We already know that. Greg DePalma, GDP, our man, will be here doing great seminars. You know how his seminars are.
Awesome.
Courtesy of SFT. Courtesy of St. Croix. Now, these are all new added for our Bass Fest 2024, January 12th and 13th. St. Croix is bringing Jesse Wiggins back to the shop here. This is his second time here. Tremendous guy. That's going to be great. Second time here, courtesy of Mega Bass, we got Nick Kusfus. Nick is a Ontario master catching 8-pound smallies.
And the St. Lawrence.
Catches 8-pounders up there. This guy's going to be awesome.
I think technically he caught an 8-pounder.
No, he caught 2 in 1 year.
Did he really?
Yes, sir. Before he was here last year. 2 in 1 year. So he's an 8-pounders.
Well, you know what the problem is, though? He's a Bengals fan.
That's the problem. But Nick Kusfus is going to be here. Back by popular demand from Bill Lewis. Gray Buck is going to be here.
Can't go wrong with Gray Buck.
Gray Buck is a great guy. We love him to death. He is going to be here. Picking his brain.
Bass
It's
Pro
going to be
Tour.
unbelievable. And from Daiwa. Now, this guy is exciting because you guys so much talk about forward-facing. This is one of the best forward-facing guys ever. Patrick Walters will be here in the house for 2 days, talking about fishing, talking about forward-facing, hanging out up here, and just having a great time with us. And you're going to be able to pick his brain about whatever topic you want to talk about. That's great. And then from Strike King and Loose, Kevin Van Dam, KVD, will be here at the show. Kevin Van Dam, George and I were trying to get him for 15 years to come here. He finally broke down. We got him coming. He will be here. You'll be able to talk to Kevin. It's going to be unbelievable. He's a great guy. You're going to enjoy it. He will also be here.
And now you know why he retired.
Why?
To come here and do the show.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He retired to come here. So Kevin Van Dam will be here. It's a great opportunity for you guys to meet him. He's a phenomenal, great guy. You're just not going to believe how great he is. So he's going to be here doing a seminar for us. And check it out online, sfttackle.com. There's a little link there. You can go right to the page. Keep checking that page because we're going to put on there the breakdown of when everybody's going to be speaking, so you guys kind of can plan your day for who you want to talk, listen to. The manufacturers are going to be here. There's going to be massive sales and massive stuff going on. It's a great event. It's a fun time. But it's all about learning. It's all about what we do here is to help you guys catch more fish. So there you have it. You got anything, Nick?
Nope. Great show. That was awesome.
George, you got anything else?
Take her to the house, dog.
All right, guys. Until next time, thank you for stopping by Tackle Shop Live.
Sunny day, right there you took my breath away. Young and pretty, was it just a dream? The next day,
Greg Plank, Sean Bowman, how you doing? What's going on, Greggy? John Snook, Antonio Gogo Gomez, how are you, buddy? Donald Roeder, good seeing you, buddy. Sam and Sam, how are you guys doing, man? Good seeing you. Matthew Weimer. Holy shit is right. KVD in the house. Did you hear that? KVD in the house. Come on. Johnny Warwick, how you doing? Conway. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Cheers.
A long blonde hair and your beautiful smile. Your sense of humor makes it all worthwhile. Don't make me wait, it's not a funny game. You know